Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a very easy weeping willow tree with a very limited palette. I've got lime green, green oxide, and raw umber. And I'm going to start with this round brush. It's got a point on the end of it. And so with this point I can make really thin lines, or I can press down harder and make wider lines. So I'm going to use this for my tree trunk. And I'm going to wet my bristles because this will flow better if the paint is kind of thinned down. And for my tree trunk, I'm just going to use the raw umber for now. Alright, so I want to decide where my tree will be, where the base of it will be, and how tall it will be. So I'm going to put the base of it about right there, and I think it'll be about this tall. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom and just drag up, and I'm barely putting any pressure on it because I want to start out thin, and then I can come back and thicken it. If I start out thick, I can't come back and thin it down. So I just want to get my limbs in just where they'll be, but not necessarily the width that they'll be. And remember, limbs have little branches coming off of them. And you know, there'll be little pieces of limbs that you'll see through the foliage, but you won't see all of it. So you can go ahead and put those in too. Okay, now I'm going to come back and thicken it up. So obviously I want it bigger at the base, and then as it comes up it gets thinner. And the same happens with the limbs. Where they meet the tree, they're going to be thicker, and then they'll get thinner as they come out. Otherwise it's going to look like your limb can't support itself. Now a lot of this will be covered up, but that's okay. We need to have it in there just in case it shows. Okay, so I think that's good on my tree trunk and my limbs. And now I'm going to start on my foliage. And for that, I'm going to use a fan brush, just a hog bristle fan brush. So I'm going to start with my darkest color, which I think I want to be green mixed with a little brown. So just like a really dark green. Greenish brown, I guess. Okay, so I've loaded my fan brush, and I don't want to use it sideways because I'll get that arch shape, and I don't want that right now. So I'm going to turn it up on its edge, and so when I do that, it's just going to give me a kind of a straight line. And that's how I'm going to make this foliage. So I want to keep my brush going vertical. And there's several things to keep in mind when I'm doing this. Weeping willow, all the branches hang straight down, so or all the foliage. So I want to keep it vertical, but I also want to make sure that I don't cover up all of my background, because there's places that you would see through through the foliage and see the sky or whatever's behind it. So, and another thing to keep in mind is that all of these don't hang down the same length. You don't want it to look like you just came through and chopped everything off even. So have some of them hanging down, some hang down, some of them touch the ground actually sometimes. So they can come down as far as you want or as short as you want. So, but keep them vertical and don't cover up all of your background and make them different lengths. That's a good few rules to follow when you're making a willow tree. Now when you get up to the top, you have to start thinking about the shape of the top of the tree. So, and you don't want it to be just an arch. You want some kind of clumps. If you look in the reference photo, it kind of grows in clumps. So I'm not just going to start tapping around here. I'm going to think about each little clump of foliage. I'm making this up as I go, and you can do that, or you can follow my reference photo. But just make sure that you don't just make like a circle tree. Give it some character, give it little sections. And see how I'm leaving little areas where there's no paint? I want my sky to show through. Plus, we'll be coming back with these other two colors, so you don't want to fill up too much with this dark color. What I don't want to do is get carried away and come down past the bottom of my tree, because that's where the ground is. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my brush and come back with my green. Because I want different shades of green in this tree. I don't know how well you can tell that there's different shades in here, but you'll be able to see it on yours. And I like to make it really wispy at the bottom because that's how willow trees are. There's like a lot of foliage up here, and then it gets kind of sparse at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my brush. And this lime green is what really forms the tree, forms these little clumps. So I'm going to load my brush with the lime green. And I'm going to start up at the top. And I want the very top to be this lime green. But as I come, and I'm working one clump at a time, but as I come down, I want more and more of the dark to come through. So up here at the top, it needs to be really bright, but not so much down here. So there's one clump. So now I'm going to start on another clump. So I want it light at the top. And I'm kind of using the corner of my brush when I want to get into a tight spot. So I'm kind of tilting the brush and just using the corner. And then down here I straighten it back up and make my lines, my vertical lines. Just make sure that you don't cover up all of your dark. You've got to preserve some of that dark. All right, now I'm starting on another clump. One clump at a time. Now here in the middle, you don't know where the clumps are, so you just got to form some. So, and this is where you can use the round part of the brush. So I've got a clump here and a clump here. So I might want one right below it in the middle. So I might want a clump right there. So I can form it with my brush like that and then come back and put the leaves in. And don't be afraid to bring some leaves out over your trunk, because in nature there would be some. This is such an easy way to paint a willow tree, and uses very limited supplies, only 3 colors and only 2 brushes. Go make a little clump right here. Just a small one. And then here and there you're just going to have some random leaves. Okay, now down here at the bottom, with this very lightest color, this is where you can really make it wispy. And I'm barely touching the canvas. But this gives it that really soft look at the bottom of the leaves. So step back and look at it and make sure that you've got leaves everywhere that you want them to be before we move on to the ground. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to rinse my brush, dry it. Okay, so with my fan brush, I'm going to pick up brown again with this. There's still some green in there, so that's good. I'm going to load it up. Okay, now I'm holding my brush like this, and I'm not going to pull it. I'm going to push it. I'm going to push against the bristles to make my grass. So I'm just touching it and pulling up, touching it and pulling up. And that gives you that that grassy look. And I shouldn't have to reload my brush. This should be enough to form my little ground area down here. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my brush and pick up a little bit of this lime green. I don't want a whole lot on there, but I just want a little bit of this color down here on the ground. Okay, so there's our weeping willow tree, and I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try it because it's so easy, and I think you'll really be impressed with it when you're finished. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do, and please like this video if you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, and until next time, thanks for watching.